SKOL Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fans, Minnesota turned into a cauldron over the past few hours. There is a trade rumor heating up on defense, a Kevin O'Connell presser that left everyone scratching their heads, rising pressure on the offense, an ex-Vikings player on the verge of rewriting his story, and an internal conversation shaking the locker room. And let me tell you, the last part of this story is going to shock the fan base. Before we dig into every detail of this breakdown, real quick, let me say this. Hit subscribe. It costs nothing. It is free. And it supercharges this fan-driven conversation that lives and breathes the Vikings. Drop a like too, because that helps YouTube recommend this video to more Vikings fans across the world. And jump into the comments, because this space belongs to the Vikings nation. Honestly, it was painful to watch what happened against the Chargers. Justin Herbert turned the Vikings defense into a lab experiment, and the primary target was Jeff Okudah. The numbers are wild. 9 throws at him, 9 completions. Unbelievable. And the worst part is we all felt it coming. It looked like Brian Flores had been trying to hide the guy all along. Okudah arrived with some buzz after coming from the Texans and looked like a rotational help. But the truth is, he became a glaring weak link. When the opposing quarterback starts the game by hunting your number, the respect is gone. And with things the way they are, this team cannot keep pretending everything is fine. The defense lost juice, injuries piled up, and the offense is still waiting to see if J.J. McCarthy comes back. Even so, one name jumped off the page. Alontae Taylor of the Saints. He is young, fast enough to play outside, and aggressive enough to disrupt in the slot. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN put him in the top 10 of the most coveted trade targets, and honestly, he would fit Flores' scheme perfectly. He is 26 years old, still on a rookie deal, and the production is real. 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 36 pass breakups across 4 seasons. He does not shy from contact, and that is exactly what this roster lacks. The problem, there is always a problem, is the money. The Vikings are projecting a deficit north of $36 million on the salary cap in the year 2026. They already paid big for Byron Murphy, more than $50 million over 3 years. In other words, adding Taylor now would be a bold bet that could tighten future cap flexibility. The Saints will not move him for cheap either. The price being floated is a second-round pick, and for a 3-4 team trying to stay alive, that is steep, especially with so much uncertainty at quarterback. But to be straight with you, I get why people want this deal. The secondary needs a new tone setter. Watching Okudah get cooked over and over has worn everyone down. Sometimes a move like this is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Drop a comment if you would give up a high pick for Taylor, because deep down, this decision says a lot about how much Kwesi still believes this team can compete right now. And look, if this story gathers steam, it could reshape the entire defense. Kevin O'Connell spoke, but somehow said nothing. Again, it is remarkable how he can turn a simple question about Andrew Van Ginkel into a spinning word cloud that goes nowhere. For anyone hoping for clarity on the linebacker's return, all that remained was frustration. Van Ginkel entered the year with momentum. He signed an extension after an excellent season, but has played only 2 games, and that neck injury looks worse than the team wants to admit. Asked if he might be back soon, O'Connell delivered a campaign-style answer, praised the effort, talked about progress, and finished by saying there is nothing concrete for next week. To be honest, that grates. Fans get that a coach wants to protect info, but the problem is the pattern. Every presser feels like philosophy class. He talks pretty, but nobody walks away knowing whether the guy will suit up. Meanwhile, the defense suffers. The front 7 was sold as the team's engine while the offense found itself, but without Van Ginkel, one of that group's leaders, the drop-off is obvious. The pressure dips, the tempo slides, and Flores has to reinvent the rotation every week. The wild part is that with only 2 appearances, he is still second on the team in sacks. 2 in 2 games. That shows how much he has missed, and the cap hit still looms. His renewed deal climbs toward nearly $20 million in the year 2026, which only raises the pressure to justify the investment. Some fans want patience, saying he should return at 100%. Others want a stopgap now, someone from the market to hold the line until he is right. The women in the fan base are calling for it too. The defense needs intensity, and it starts with players who command respect up front. And based on O'Connell's answer, no miracles are coming. If Van Ginkel is not out there against the Lions, it is fair to assume a longer absence. That is when the problem snowballs, because without him, the defense loses identity. The truth is, nobody can take more vague answers. Fans want decisiveness, clarity, and results. Drop a comment if you think O'Connell needs to cut the fluff and face reality, because patience, like the defense, is hanging by a thread. This Justin Jefferson situation hit everyone in the gut. Since 2020, he has been the heartbeat. Even with a quarterback carousel, he has stayed elite. But now it feels like his patience might be wearing thin. And honestly, who could blame him? Dan Patrick raised it on his show and asked the hard question, how long until Jefferson is done watching his prime get wasted? J.J. McCarthy is sidelined with a high ankle sprain. Carson Wentz is getting battered weekly, and the offense lacks direction. Meanwhile, the best receiver in football battles short throws, misreads, and nonstop bracket coverage. It is infuriating. Patrick pushed further, saying Minnesota could have pursued someone steadier. He even mentioned Joe Flacco. The takeaway is simple. The Vikings need a quarterback who keeps them competitive, or Jefferson eventually asks out. And to be straight with you, that is not far-fetched. He already surpassed 8,000 receiving yards and became the youngest ever to hit that mark, even ahead of Randy Moss. He has done it while catching passes from Sam Darnold, Jaron Hall, Joshua Dobbs, and yes, Wentz, a revolving emergency list. The Jamar Chase comparison resurfaced too. Larry Fitzgerald, a Minnesota legend, put it plainly. Jefferson produces like Chase without the stability of a Joe Burrow. It is high praise with a warning label. The talent is there. The environment is failing him. The kicker is Jefferson does not chase drama. He is humble, grounded, lives in Minnesota, and invests in the community. If he ever shows impatience, it is because things truly soured. Nobody wants to reach that point. Fans feel the clock ticking. The roster still has talent, but it is squandering a historic prime that should mean playoff pushes every season. Tell me in the comments if you think this is more about the quarterback void or a front office that did not build a sturdier structure around him. Because look, if this vibe persists, the "get me out of here" chatter could turn into reality. Football really comes full circle. While the Vikings juggle who starts under center next week, a familiar face is about to get another shot: Kirk Cousins. Yes, the same Cousins who ran Minnesota's offense for 6 seasons is set to start again in Atlanta. The timing is wild. The Falcons bet big on him with a 4-year, $180 million deal and still drafted Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. Result: the most expensive backup quarterback in league history. Now, with Penix banged up, the job swings back to Cousins. And plenty of Vikings fans will be watching, not just out of nostalgia but genuine curiosity. Does he still have it, or did last year's slide signal the end? Adam Schefter reported on ESPN that Cousins will start against the Miami Dolphins. And look at the calendar. That game lands right near the trade deadline. If he balls out, a quarterback-needy team might call. Some in Minnesota are whispering about a reunion, but the practical side, that contract is a monster. Fitting it under the current Vikings cap, especially with the 2026 crunch, is nearly impossible. As romantic as it sounds, it is mostly barstool talk. Still, it is a must-see for the Purple faithful. For all the criticism, he was steady. Did not take us to a Super Bowl, but the offense functioned. Today, fans would trade a lot for that stability, and if he lights it up in Atlanta, then the front office debate really ignites, because while McCarthy rehabs and Wentz unravels, watching the ex-QB thrive elsewhere would be a tough pill. Drop a comment if you believe Cousins should have stayed longer in Minnesota, because with the way this season is going, even the skeptics are rethinking things. Hold that thought, because the next topic is what is truly boiling among fans. We reached the point where there is nothing left to defend. Carson Wentz cannot be this team's quarterback. The Chargers game was the breaking point, and we had already swallowed a lot this season. He was banged up, unprotected, and somehow had no rhythm. Snap after snap, you could feel the collapse coming. The Vikings lost 37-10. Brutal. The offense stalled, the offensive line fell apart, and Wentz completely lost. It is harsh, but he looked stuck in slow motion. When an undrafted rookie like Max Brosmer enters and shows better pocket control, something is deeply off. Kevin O'Connell made the wrong call by sticking with him. Brian O'Neill was out, Christian Darrisaw exited, and the offense turned into a minefield. Even so, they threw Wentz out there with a sore shoulder. The result? More hits, more turnovers, zero progress. If the plan was gain experience, it has become stubbornness. Vikings territory nailed it. Time to be done with Carson Wentz. The team must turn the page. This is not only about performance, it is about direction. Continuing with him now wastes what is left of the season. With McCarthy back practicing and Brosmer showing poise, rolling with a veteran who has clearly lost confidence makes no sense. The most telling sign was the offense breathing again when Brosmer came in. Quick throws, simple reads, tempo, things we had not seen in weeks. Fans felt it immediately. Social feeds filled with calls to start the kid. O'Connell said post-game that McCarthy returns if he is healthy, but the plan has to change. The season may not be fully lost, but the focus should shift to development. Real reps for Brosmer or McCarthy are far more valuable than watching Wentz trip over the same mistakes. And there is more. This mess is not only on him. The front office must answer too. Kwesi took big swings on veterans and played it safe with youth. Now, with the team spiraling, it is time to look forward. Step 1 is simple. Stop repeating the past. Tell me if you also think Wentz should not wear purple again, because fans see it clearly. Doubling down would be denying the obvious. The next chapter begins with a choice. Cling to what failed or give the new a chance to grow. After all of that, you can feel the weight of the moment. The defense is pleading for help. O'Connell is lost in his words. Jefferson is restless. Cousins has re-entered the picture, and Wentz is sinking what little optimism remained. But this is when you learn who truly wears purple for love of it. The team is in transition, but the fan base stands firm, and that is what keeps the Defend the North flame alive. Drop a comment. This space belongs to everyone who lives the purple faithful. And brace yourself, because the next chapter promises to be intense. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go!